What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Grady, and I listen to country music and whatever else I want to. And today I just wanted to do a little video on Brooks and Dunn's new album, Reboot, because I think it's a really cool project. And, right now we're in this cool spot where it feels like suddenly it's like 1993 again. We've got, not only is Billy Ray Cyrus on top of the chart with Old Town Road, we've got, and that's not on the country chart, which I like, and, I admit to, I know I gotta revisit Old Town Road as a topic. I'm waiting for engines to cool a little bit, so I'm aware. I'll make a follow-up video. The tidal wave of hate towards me just continues on my original video about Old Town Road, and I'll make a follow-up to all that eventually. I do feel like we're a little bit back in the 90s. We got Reba McEntire and George Strait and Brooks and Dunn all as like the top country albums right now, and it's kind of fun. It feels like this little throwback moment, and I'm here for it. And today, though, I wanted to focus on Brooks and Dunn's Reboot. And before I get into it, though, I want to shout out to our sponsor that sponsored all our videos this month, Ridge Wallet, the good folks over at the Ridge. This little guy here is a minimalist wallet. You can slide into your front pocket. It holds all your cards, as you can see right here. I've been adding cards to it. I've been getting some gift cards lately, so there's a nice little Chick-fil-A gift card and a few coffee shops in here as well. There's a money clip on the back, and it's this nice aluminum gunmetal finish. You can actually get 10% off your first order of Ridge using the promo code Grady, so go show them some love because they're showing the channel some love. So shout out to you guys, Ridge. Reboot by Brooks and Dunn. This album is like a really smart album. It's the best way that I can imagine doing a greatest hits album and kind of a comeback album of sorts, because instead of just sort of redoing their songs with modern production, what Brooks and Dunn have done is drafted 12 artists that are really hot in country music right now or on the rise, and they've redone their songs kind of in the style of those artists. Now, as this album was getting rolled out, I was like, gosh, the production on some of these songs is really different. It feels really inconsistent. First, it started with Luke Combs doing Brand New Man. Then it went to Kane Brown with Believe, and I was like, these don't sound like they live on the same project. And actually, that's part of the point. What Reboot does really well is it adapts the style of some of Brooks and Dunn's biggest hits into the style of these artists. And it makes for a really cool album. The first time I listened, I was like, this doesn't make any sense sonically. The second, third, fourth time I listened through this album, I was like, I totally get what they're doing here, and it's brilliant. Because now these songs are going to be on all those artists' Spotifys, and then all these young people that are clicking around are going to be like, oh, Brooks and Dunn, oh, wow, I actually like that song, and find them, and it just feels really open-handed and interesting, and instead of just repackaging their own stuff, they're adding something new into their repertoire, and they're doing all these cool collaborations, and I just think everything about this project really works. So let's kind of do track by track and tell you just sort of which ones I really like, which ones I don't. Brooks and Dunn was someone that I grew up listening to when my dad went through a country phase. My dad's country phase is what got me into country music. So I definitely remember songs like My Maria, Boot, Scootin' Boogie was a big deal in my house because my sister's name is Scotty. Her nickname's always been Scooty. And so I don't know, Boot, Scootin' Boogie lends itself to that sort of thing. Ain't Nothing About You. I mean, these were all songs that I grew up really familiar with, and I loved kind of their, like, Western sort of New Mexico cowboy sound. I really always liked that about Brooks and Dunn. And on this album, some of that is retained, and sometimes we're shifted way away from there. So the standouts on here, to me, are some of the songs where there's been a lot less done to them, because they're just good songs, and they sound awesome. I really love My Next Broken Heart with Jon Pardi, and I really love Boot Scootin' Boogie with Midland. I think both of those songs are sort of interesting because the way that, Jon Pardi and Midland are both kind of being framed in popular country music conversation right now is as traditionalists of sorts, and I feel like the sonic cue to think of them that way is this almost vocodered, vintagey sound that they both have on their vocals on this Brooks and Dunn record. And so when you listen to the original tracks by Brooks and Dunn, these ones actually, the production on those almost sounds more clean and modern than on these ones, which it's like they're showing their vintaginess by the sort of singing into a tin can kind of sound, and I think it actually works, but it is very amusing to me. So I really liked those ones. I think Hardworking Man by Brothers Osborne really amps up the kind of southern rock vibes of that song, and the Brothers Osbornes are perfect for that. I mean, it just feels, they have such a masculine energy because TJ Osborne's voice is just so deep, and it just feels so cool on a song like Hard Working Man. I really, really, really actually think that the Neon Moon cover by Kacey Musgraves, at first listen, I was like, man, this is way worse than Neon Moon. I'm not getting the feeling of loneliness. It's almost hopeful in its tone, but she kind of did her golden hour thing on Neon Moon and focused on the kind of neon aspects of it. And it's almost through this prismatic, shimmery rainbow filter that Kacey does things with. And it really is, it makes kind of you feel this moment of community along with Kacey in your loneliness at the bar. And there's some sort of transcendent happiness in Neon Moon. And so while I still way prefer the original and how the kind of intense loneliness of it, I do think that the Kacey version is really different and it's cool. And it's like, if you're going to cover a song, you may as well take a swing. And sometimes you're going to miss, but sometimes you're going to hit it. And I think it's a cool addition. It's very Kacey. And you can tell she's kind of the only artist on this record that was allowed to really just own the whole song. It's not really a duet. It's pretty much her song and they're vaguely there in the background. I think that, look, she can flex right now. She's the reigning Album of the Year winner at the Grammys, so it makes sense to me. Now, other songs on here, they swing and they don't hit. You know, my least favorite by a mile on this is Ain't Nothing About You with Brett Young. Ain't Nothing About You, it's been robbed of all of its kind of libido. I listened to this song like 7 or 8 times being like, what about this is hitting me so wrong compared to the original? And I think what it is that in the original Ain't Nothing About You, they're singing with this sort of intensity. This girl is so transfixing to them that their voices are just singing with conviction and presence and intensity, and they're sexually drawn to her. There's nothing about her that doesn't do something to him. And I think where Brett Young's kind of twists, other than just sort of the musical smoothification of feeling a little bit more like a little bit of a disco lounge vibe, I think the vocal delivery on it just feels so much weaker. It feels kind of lame because it feels so fawning. And that's kind of Brett Young's thing. And again, I like that about this album. They really adapted to the artists. And clearly something about that fawning thing works for Brett Young because he's got a ton of fans. But it just feels like, instead of it being this sort of charged thing where there's something about her that Brooks and Dunn can't get over, with Brett Young it feels like so complimentary, like there's nothing about you that doesn't do something to me. And that twist is subtle, but it really makes the song so much less cool. It really does. It doesn't feel like it has that edge when you go back and listen to the Brooks and Dunn one. And a few songs on this feel like that. I mean, My Maria, I think, is fine with Thomas Rhett. I think they definitely popified it, but it feels less, New Mexico and more Miami. That's kind of the twist on My Maria that I would say I feel from Thomas Rhett. Other songs on here, the interpretations are interesting. Like Cody Johnson does Red Dirt Road, and it feels way more haunting and kind of serious and less sort of hopeful than the original version. And, Brand New Man feels pretty much straight down the middle. Believe with Kane Brown, I actually really liked. I think Kane Brown delivering the verses in his super deep kind of talking voice, I thought it was really cool and really worked.
It was killer. His voice it works, fabulous on it. Not selling here, just saying.
He doesn't have anything on those guys when it comes to the high notes and the kind of intense, charged chorus, but as far as delivering the story with his kind of deep voice, I kind of liked Kane Brown on it. I was actually really surprised, and that's really what got him an audience originally online, was doing these older covers, so I think he was really well suited to it. I do hear laced in, about 2/3 of the way through the song, you can start to hear a little trap beat, very low in the mix, laced into the Kane Brown version of Believe, but I think it's cool that they did this whole thing, and I feel like, in this time where we're all fighting over what's country, good on you, Brooks and Dunn, for bringing artists as diverse as Ashley McBryde and Kane Brown together on one record. Luke Combs' Brand New Man is going to be the kind of smash of here. I really think that conviction that I'm speaking of, the just strength and power in Luke's voice is most sort of well-suited to this album, and I see why I think it was kind of his interest in covering Brand New Man that really sort of kickstarted this project. But I'm glad it exists. I mean, there's a number of songs on here I haven't even mentioned. There's Lost and Found with Tyler Booth, which is kind of a straight down the middle cover and good. Same with Ashley McBryde's You're Gonna Miss Me When I'm Gone. I think that one's kind of boring, actually, and I love Ashley, but that cover didn't do a ton for me. And then LANCO's Mama Didn't Get Dressed Up for Nothing. I don't know. That didn't do much for me either. LANCO's a little in the doghouse with me, though, because I freaking loved Greatest Love Story, and I don't know what they're trying to do as a band right now, because they have the song out Rival right now, and no. It's a no from me on that song. And this cover's fine. I think it would have been a lot cooler to put a girl on Mama Don't Get Dressed Up for Nothing, but that's all right. I think I've covered all the songs, at least in mention right now, but on the whole, I would give this album, it's kind of hard to rate because it's like a gimmick, but it's a cool gimmick. So I had a ton of fun listening to it. I'll just give it in terms of fun, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's very fun to hear them do this and try and hear what parts of the production style of all these different artists Brooks and Dunn is letting them kind of cover their songs with. But from as an album, I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. But again, these songs are good. These melodies are awesome. It's inconsistent because of the different kind of production styles, but dude, I liked it. I think it's really fun. I'm glad they did this. I think a lot of artists should do something like this because it's so invitational and it's so interesting and it's such a nice way to get people involved in their music. And so I think it's cool. I'm sure other people have tried stuff like this, but I like that they were duetting on all these songs. It's just super well done. Dan Huff produced it, and I think it's produced pretty tastefully. So it's a nice landscape of some Texas country, some pop country, and even some of this like R&B country sound with Kane Brown. So bravo, guys. Thanks for putting that out. Look forward to doing more stuff on the channel soon. I admit to being a little, withdrawn from the channel because some of the conversation around Old Town Road really bummed me out. The accusations getting thrown to me, and I've talked about that, and I will some more later. But I just feel like we're in this weird zone with country music, and everyone's been mad, and I want to be fun on this channel. I like being critical, but being open-minded, and I feel like that's allowed, and I'm trying to remind myself of that, and I am going to keep the channel fed, I'm approaching some big life changes, and probably location changes, and I'm going to try and launch a podcast, and I have launched a subreddit, and I'll link everything down in the description below, but I'm trying to foster, really make this into a platform. I mean, this could be, my thing. This could be my job, and so just trying to take it one day at a time. But life's a-changing, and I haven't always been coping well with it, but I'm so pumped that this channel's taking off the way it is. And I want to have fun, because I love country music. I love listening to an album like this and just liking every single song and being like, ugh, to a Brett Young song. So that's what we're here to do, and I love that you guys are down for the conversation. So thank you so much for all the support. It's nice to get talking. I'm smiling again. Thanks, guys. Thank you. And I'll see you soon in some more videos.